Welcome, guys, once again to the MMOs.com podcast, episode 95, getting closer to that 100. This is Altai, joined this week by...
Omer.
Gumble.
Matt.
Aurelia.
Look at that, full house.
This is the special MMOs.com episode where the shoe is alive edition.
I am.
So glad to have you back.
Did you see the blanket I got?
Oh my god, that's actually the most. That looks really comfortable and super cute.
It's so good.
Okay, we gotta take a small detour.
I saw that too. Yeah, link that. I want to see that too.
I'm gonna link it right now. That is like
on Twitter.
That makes you being a god this whole time perfectly a-okay.
Sure, is your mattress on the floor, like Japanese style?
Yeah, it's literally a Japanese mattress.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I approve. I'm a mattress on floor master race.
I don't have a tatami anymore. I put it in the other room, but I used to have it. It's because of VR. Amazing. The reason why I don't have tatami anymore is because of VR. I don't want to trip over like shit, you know.
I'm a fan of those bed sheets here. Those are mega kawaii.
It was like 150 for the whole thing.
100% worth. 100% worth.
It's really comfy too. It's really like the colors are really crisp.
All right. After you show that, let's just go ahead and jump to the weekly raider, huh?
All right, here we go. So this is from Fate Grand Order.
Fate Grand Order.
This is one of the highest grossing games in the world right now, actually.
Wow.
I have yet to play it. Maybe I'll give it a shot.
It's a mobile game, right?
Yep.
It's actually surprisingly high quality. Like, they put a lot of, like, the production value is there. It feels fluid, looks gorgeous. So, making a quality game, it pays off.
And we actually have a very old tutorial on how to play it. This game is still not in English, right?
No.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Relevant link.
So old.
It is. It's so old, there's no banner in it.
I log in to get, like, the points, and I don't really play that much anymore.
All right, and with that, let's take it to the weekly raid. Take it away, Gumbles.
Okay, this week we're actually touching on a subject that we briefly talked about last week, and I ended up thinking about this quite a bit, and I think I rescind everything I originally put in my little editorial. We're talking about voice chat in MMORPGs. We had been playing Revelation Online, and we were thinking, we're playing this game, and we're all on Discord together, but, we can't talk. If we weren't together, we couldn't talk to anyone else in our party, mainly because in that game and a few other games, you're so involved in what you're doing in the dungeon that it's almost impossible to communicate. And I'm wondering, why is it that VoIP, which has caught on in games like Counter-Strike or Battlefield, it never really took off in MMORPGs. A few games did have it, like Lord of the Rings Online, but in most mainstream games, VoIP has always been sorely missing. And I was thinking about why is it that when you enter a group, you're not given an option to join, say, a small group-based VoIP server. So, like in, say, Overwatch, so you can talk with your group mates. That way, then, it's not just text, and it kind of gives the appearance of there being a person playing the other characters. But then I'm thinking, would anybody even use it? And I think maybe they wouldn't at all. Maybe everyone always relies on their third-party VoIP programs, and maybe we don't want to hear somebody's dog barking in the background because they forgot to turn their mic off when they're talking in the game. So I'm really not sure. I feel like in my mind, just like when we talked about internet cafes, this is something that I would use all the time, but then if it was actually there, somehow I think I would just not bother, and I would keep listening to music or talking on my own voice chat instead. So I want to have a roundtable discussion. I don't know who wants to pick it up first. What do you guys think about VoIP in MMORPGs? MMORPGs specifically, because most MMOs, either it be an FPS or a survival game, they always do typically have VoIP.
Well, right. If it were actually on by default everywhere, even if it were localized, I would turn it off immediately. Yeah. I would never use it. I mean, I wouldn't just turn off my mic. I'd turn the voice volume all the way down every time, because there's no way I want to hear all those people. I had that experience in APB. I'm done with it. I'm tired of hearing like the rap music or somebody going motherfucker, motherfucker, motherfucker as he just rolls by, like Samuel L. Jackson movie going by you.
Classic gameplay.
So I wouldn't use it then, but if you had the option to join like a channel for your dungeon party, I might use it. I think that's kind of what they're doing for, what was it? Is it Camelot Unchained?
Camelot Unchained.
Okay, yeah, I think they're going to have built-in Discord
integration.
Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, I guess we'll see then when I try the game eventually, inevitably, whether or not I actually use it.
All right. I think it's if it's implemented well. As Matt said, I don't think I think the whole proximity voice chat is a cool idea in games like survival games where it makes sense. But in MMORPG where you can have potentially 100 players in one small zone, it's literally unusable. But if you have like careful integration, stuff like within dungeons, it would be amazing. I mean, look at Atlas Reactor. It's not an MMORPG, but the way it works is when the game it also has Discord integration. As soon as the game begins, you have a party matched up to play online, and your 5v5 game. It's 44, I think, or I forgot. Anyway, you click a button, you instantly join a separate Discord channel was made just for that game, and whoever clicks on it gets a join. So it's not like on by default. You click on it to activate, and it just works. So I think if you party up in a game, it's actually, I'm surprised they didn't implement it that way, because voice chat in dungeons can be super important. That could be the difference between wiping like multiple times and finally getting it done. Like good communication is so important in like boss fights and whatnot. Like it just so that they don't have it. I mean, I understand the need to make it kind of off by default because you want to create like a safer environment, a non-toxic environment. But if it's optionally available in dungeons, it's nuts, and no MMORPG has implemented it yet. Like I would totally use it because, I mean, I think Blackstar in our chat said it best. How can I troll people without voice chat? Because like while we're in a dungeon, even if it's easy, like I'll have fun just like trolling people and talking with them. So it'll be fun.
I am all for it, and I think. First of all, I think we all agree we should have it in parties, right? So that's like off the table. It's obvious. But even the local stuff, I think it could be done well. You could do a max number of voices you hear, depending on like if you're in town, the circle would be smaller than if you're outside. Let's say, so that could kind of modulate the level of spam. And yes, it could be inconvenient. You could hear some guy, chattering or making too many noises. But that's part of like, when you go to New York City, right, and you hear the jackhammer fixing the road, that's part of the experience. Imagine you're drinking coffee in a Starbucks in New York City, in Manhattan, and you hear a jackhammer outside while you drink. That's part of being in the city, So in an MMORPG you're playing, you're in town. One guy's yelling, motherfucker, whatever he's yelling, whatever. That's part of the experience.
People don't yell motherfucker in real life though.
Yo.
Get punched in the face.
Maybe in my hood.
Okay, I would be okay with this if we had PvP everywhere.
You kill the guy.
Then I agree with it, because then I can shank that guy. Right?
Good point. People are more obnoxious online.
But in general, I'm actually against it via voiceover.
Why?
Like, because if I want to talk to you guys, like if I want to coordinate, then we'll form a party and we'll coordinate and we'll figure that out. I don't want to have to listen to every single random person that's out there.
You don't have to. You can mute them. It's like when you walk on the street. Somebody's talking. Are you gonna like tell them to shut the fuck up, or no? You're just gonna keep walking
not
by.
Only that, I feel like it's also gonna form like a thing where everyone's expected to talk. I don't actually like talking. I don't know if you've ever played games with me. I don't actually talk. I talk very rarely in games, and
that's true.
I don't want that. I don't want to be I don't want to be forced to like be into that. You know what I mean? Like. Also,
it's fair from your perspective too. I mean, you do get treated differently for being a girl on the internet, both negatively and positive. And I feel like in MMORPGs you can like totally like Bugatti bitch your way up to the top, but like in other games you might get a lot of shit for it. People are nicer to girls, but they're also kind of meaner to them sometimes. So it's gonna be rough.
So if I mean, it's not even an issue of like, that making me feel bad, but like it's like sometimes you just don't want to deal with it.
That's true.
You play games for fun. You don't want to deal with fucking people being retarded. So it's like either I gotta just not talk, which is what I prefer to do. I'd rather just type because I can type pretty fast. I'd rather type or you gotta use the dude voice. The dude voice. You gotta drop it down a little bit. But then the thing is like sometimes if you do that, then it's like, oh, are you like a little kid, or you like. It's just annoying. Like,
but you could have it off by default too. It's I feel like just because you have it doesn't mean it's got to be enforced all the way. I mean, even in stuff like CS:GO.
Yeah, but the issue is people will start expecting that as the norm, and then you'll get heckled for not for not like I feel like there's already enough stuff. People have their own communities in Discord, for example. Like people are just gonna use something like that, you know.
But there's friction with random parties because I think in a lot of games you do find kind of like end up with random people for a dungeon. And
yes, but the people that have people that go into random parties, let's be real, they don't have that thing to begin with. They're not gonna talk.
And random dungeons are typically facial anyway, so you don't really need to communicate in those. I'm trying to think, what game can we do a random dungeon in that's actually difficult? Because it's not FF14, I'll tell you that.
Actually, because I'm a shill, I'll say that Revelation Online's higher level dungeons, their expert dungeons, do require some level of coordination for new players. I mean, once you, of course, like any game, once you know what you're doing, then you're fine. But I could also think of Final Fantasy 14 dungeons, and I forgot, Shu, maybe remember the name. So with the wall in the hallway, and the wall's approaching you, you have to kill the boss before.
Oh, I know you're talking.
I remember that dungeon in particular in Final Fantasy. We had somebody in our text chat in our party, and they kept typing out every single thing we had to do because that dungeon had a couple of complicated mechanics, I guess, or at least mechanics that were intuitive. And I figure in that situation, you know, it would have been helpful to just have somebody talk. But I don't think voice chat works in the open world. I think it's too much of a clusterfuck. But I in the article I wrote and also in the weekly raid, I specified that I think that it would have to work similar to like Overwatch, where you opt in at the beginning of a pug. That way, then it doesn't. That way, then it gives power to the player to decide how they want to communicate.
What is GameStop? Power to the players?
I do hate that they ruined that because you know there's degrees of power, whatnot, and how we interact. Whatever. But I think, you know, you have to opt in. That way, then it doesn't affect people who don't want to talk at all. Because some people just don't, you know, they don't want to talk. And I get that. And there are some days I don't want to talk. And that's fine. But, you know, maybe you'll meet a random person that way. You end up making a clan together. It's just, personally, I think without voice chat, there's a chanced social interaction that maybe happens 1 out of 100 times. That could happen if it was there. And that's cool because part of why we play games, we meet other people. And a lot of games today don't give us those opportunities to meet random people. And I'm sitting on a physio ball. That's why I'm doing this, because I have a bad back.
Oh my god, you're one of those people now.
I'm not, you know, I like Melissa Myers from, what's the word? Oh, Yahoo. It's funny. You can't help but bounce. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'd like to have a counterpoint to that. So, on the case of like meeting new people, right? If voice chat was already immediately in, I feel like there's actually less of a chance to interact with people outside of that instance, because when you have a thing like Discord and, you know, you really like, you know, playing with this person, you usually invite them into that, and then that already creates a connection. Does that make sense? I feel like there's a case for that as well, so there might be a counterpoint there. I don't know the numbers, but I'm just providing.
Somebody said in the chat, Blade and Soul Japan had an opt-in dungeon VoIP that worked really well, and he used it quite often in our chat. So that's pretty cool, because I know we didn't have anything like that here. But Gumby mentioned the power to the players, and that makes me think of GameStop, obviously, which is there's one thing that really bothers me when I walk into GameStop, right? Maybe it's just a me issue. So you guys tell me if this bothers you too. So you're at GameStop looking at random games, and the radio goes on there because they have like their own like little thing, and like you hear this girl voice saying, now, introducing Final Fantasy 15, the latest installment in Square Enix's blah, blah, blah franchise. Cruise along the town, doing this and this. And they use a girl's voice, and it gets so cringy. I'm like, why are they... It just sounds so, like, fake. Like, this girl probably knows nothing about games.
Oh my
She's reading off the script. It sounds so cringe. I don't know. It bothers me when...
I never even noticed.
Omer.
That was just me, maybe. Huh.
I would like to enlighten you about how the world works. You see those people in commercials for everything? None of them know anything about it.
You're right, Matt. You're right. But this is something that's so easy to like make it sound genuine. Like it's not difficult to make it sound genuine.
Do you want a nasally dork saying it?
Yes.
Play Final Fantasy 15 was the best game ever. is that?
Yeah, I want that.
Okay.
Give me that genuine experience, all right? No, it sounds so like I get the marketing, I get the girl doing it, but it just sounds so. It always sounds so fake though. Like even if she reads off a script, make the script a little better. It just always every time I go to GameStop, that voice introducing every new game to me, I hate it. It just sounds awful. But apparently maybe that's just a Remo issue.
Yeah.
All right, Remo issue. But I mean, game features aside, like you just immersive wise, you think it's a net negative if you have it? It won't work. The voice chat.
That was the big. So when I was researching it, this issue, one of the big things I found was a lot of people agreed that when you hear someone's voice behind a character, that actually kills your immersion. And I always thought that text over a person's head killed my immersion, but I guess I'm wrong that way. Yeah, a lot of people, they think that when you hear the person's voice, I guess because it's so there's such a disparity between what their character looks like and how they sound.
Well,
you know, especially if you're me playing a female character, it kind of doesn't
are you saying?
fit. But I think that's sexist. But the point is, people find it immersion breaking. So, and I think that's I don't know if that's a fair complaint or not.
So you think Groktar, the orc warlord, shouldn't sound like a 12-year-old?
Hey guys, it's me, Groktar. You guys ready to kill the boss today? No, I'm fine with that. Maybe Groktar, he got his vocal cords were stepped on as a kid. You don't know what his backstory is.
Exactly.
It's always a reason.
Guys, I think Discord is going to solve this problem for us going forward. I think we're going to see more and more MMORPGs kind of get integrated with Discord in one way or another. And I think I think voice in MMORPGs, whether we like it or not, in like 10 years, is going to be normalized, where it's always going to be there. Like, isn't Xbox, when you're online in Xbox, you can always do voice chat?
I don't.
When I played it back in the day, it was, and so was PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like anymore. I haven't had a console in a while, so besides the Switch.
But I think it's going to be normalized one way or another.
I think the beauty is VoIP is gonna. I always preferred MMORPGs that were a little slower paced, because that downtime between pulls, between activities, running to the next zone for your quest or whatever, that gives you time to type. You need that time to type, right? That's your grooming. You gotta socialize while you're waiting for mana to fill up.
But you mean you can't yell motherfucker on your voice instead?
But I think voice will allow the gameplay to speed up and still maintain that grooming aspect. Like between pulls, let's say 5-second downtime, you can still talk and say what you would have said typing for a minute. So I do think it's going to be more common.
Dude, I'm going to play a fucking orc barbarian. There's voiceover. Hey guys, I'm Groktar, the male orc barbarian, and we're gonna fucking kill those kobolds.
Prepubescent male barbarian. or orc. I like it.
Make Groktar
is a quality name.
Groktar's gonna stick now, guys. All right.
That should be like our mascot.
Groktar? I like it. I like Groktar.
The MMOs.com mascot is Groktar. It's like a giant male barbarian with like nipple piercings, and it's like played by like a 10-year-old girl.
I like it. Get somebody on this, all right? Get someone drawing this mascot right away.
Well, if anyone has any opinions about voice chat in chat, let us know on the post, please. I'm actually really curious to see what our audience thinks, because when I looked into this, most forums said they didn't like it at all. Very few people defend the idea of in-game VoIP. So let us know.
All right. But it just seems so silly. If it's optional, just toggle it. It's whatever. I see the point that it might eventually become a norm. But personally, I say in 10 years, it's going to be a norm regardless. I think that's the way it's going to take us. I could be wrong, but we'll wait in 10 years and find out. All right?
All right, I'll let you know in 10 years.
All right. And with that, let's take it to probably, I think, the most interesting / oddball story and conversation of the week. Apparently, South Korea and China are in a spat right now. And in a spat that actually affects video games. So apparently, the U.S. installed missile shield defenses in South Korea against North Korea, and China's like, "Don't do that. You're gonna be able to spy on us with that shit. We don't like that." And South Korea did it anyway.
That was really the worst description. So okay, I'm gonna take over.
Have at it.
Basically.
Have at it.
South Korea sees North Korea as a threat because they've been doing the missile testing recently off the coasts of like Japan and in the Pacific. And what happened was the U.S. and South Korea worked together to build a missile system to then allow South Korea to defend themselves against North Korea. Well, China saw that as a threat to their security, so among all sorts of like travel bans and stuff, they've decided to ban the release of new games made in South Korea in China. So like if Dungeon Fighter were to come out today, it would not be allowed to be released in China. They've just canceled all licensing of South Korean games. because you'd have to go through the government and follow a bunch of strict regulations, and they can do that. So we don't know what's going to happen with existing games in China that were developed in South Korea. They could eventually revoke their licenses, but for now it just affects new games. And what is going to be affected going forward is Lineage 2 Revolution may very well not be allowed to launch in China right now because it's made by Netmarble and other games that are currently scheduled to launch in China. But it doesn't affect the reverse, as far as I'm aware. They're not like going, no, you made your game in China, just keep it out of South Korea. That's just the other way around.
Man, you clearly bought all that U.S. propaganda, all right? The glorious Chinese nation clearly has a point, all right? This is a threat to Chinese security and a provoke by the evil West, all right?
You know what's a bigger threat to China than those missiles? Those awful Korean games. Keep them out. let's keep China pure, all right? Revelation Online, Moonlight Blade. These are some top quality, homegrown, organic games, all right? We don't need that.
They should just ban anime.
Moonlight Blade won an Oscar, all right? It happened, all right? They're keeping China pure. But it just seems so silly that they would actually do this. I mean, one of the biggest beneficiaries of these big South Korean games in China are local Chinese game publishers. Even though Nexon makes Dungeon Fighter Online, for example, that game makes like over close to $1 billion a year. They share that money in China with the publisher, which is a Chinese company. I mean, Nexon is no Korean company or no foreign company is allowed to publish their games by themselves in China. They have to have a Chinese partner. So it seems like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot with this whole deal. I mean, I guess it may hurt South Korea more, but it also hurts the local companies in China. So it's just crazy how missile shields in real life can affect virtual worlds, all right?
Geopolitics and free-to-play MMORPGs, guys. So there's a crossover here.
But you think South Korea will do the same thing, or do you think this is just like pandering that's going to wear off in a couple months?
It'll wear off.
It'll probably wear off. There'll probably be somebody else that causes something. Cough, cough. Us.
But I mean, I don't get the geopolitics of it.
What I find funnier is that geopolitics affected video games of all industries to be affected by the missile testing. It was video games, and that's what shocked me more than anything else. I wonder if in the future you'll piss off entire populations by blocking another country's game because that's their form of entertainment.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is, Dungeon Fighter Online, League of Legends, all those games are some of the top games. So if you take into account that Dungeon Fighter Online is in there, I think the Chinese government is well aware that it hurts the South Korean economy. Cut it out.
I think what's more is that it kind of shows how big video gaming has gotten. The fact that it's getting affected by these things, just the scope.
I mean, they specifically targeted video games too. It's like they could have been like, all right, no consumer electronics from there, no Samsung dishwashers. No, they said freaking video games.
Gaming is a big deal now, man.
I mean, look at this beautiful MapleStory 2 video. I mean, the poor Chinese kids are gonna be missing out on this because I think this is scheduled to launch there, so it might impact the timing of that.
Well, I mean, they missed a big chance there. I hear that Samsung TVs can turn into listening devices, so I mean, if they banned them, they had an excuse to not listen.
They're missing out.
Are you scared of the brutal kangaroo? Are you scared of? Do you guys know about brutal kangaroo?
No. Fill us in, Fill us in.
That's the name of one of the projects for the flying thing.
What a name!
The one with the TVs listening was Weeping Angel, and then there was one called Brutal Kangaroo.
Brutal Kangaroo, or the one where your microwave turns into a camera.
I heard about that.
That's the least intimidating code name ever. Brutal Kangaroo. Operation Brutal Kangaroo.
Okay, let me.
Sounds like a very frail mission.
Alright, Brutal Kangaroo was a malware created by the CIA to infiltrate computers that run Windows by infecting parts of the disk drive. Similar programs described include efforts to hide malware as JPEG and PNG files.
So watch out for those MMOs.com screenshots. All CIA infested. We do use JPEG though, better compression. So
didn't they say like like every Skype conversation is recorded as well?
They transfer the Skype conversations to text, transcribe it, and they store that.
Dude, they have the best fucking CIA code names. It's fucking Weeping Angel, Brutal Kangaroo, Fine Dining, Hammer Drill, Harpy Eagle, and Cutthroat and Swindle.
All right, guys. I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. I want you guys to all come up with your own CIA code names. All right.
Oh, all right, that's a good one.
All right.
Laughing Tiger.
What? Lame.
Is that like a confused Native American name or something? Laughing Tiger.
I got a better one. Burnt Pasta.
Burnt pasta's not bad. I like burnt pasta. Bad Wolf. All right.
How do you burn pasta?
He's a small dicked orc.
Small dick.
Ooh.
I'll be White Weeb. All right. It's my
White
it's
Weeb.
my code name.
This is White Weeb.
Wait, are weebs anything else?
Let's not dig too far into it. All right. I'm White Weeb. WW. All right. White Weeb checking in. Yeah, watching this MapleStory video makes me get hype again for this game. It's actually a really different MMORPG. Like, we always kind of harp on, we've seen so many Korean grinders and everything's kind of the same. But MapleStory 2 is actually, like, so different. If you haven't played it yet, I think it's worth checking out just for, like, to see how different it is on the Korean version alone. But I'm really hoping this comes out here because I think this has more potential in America than it does in Korea because of all the creative elements.
Do we have any news about it?
The most recent news again was a few months ago. They hired a producer, and actually Nexon's hiring a lot more people. But there's no word on if that means anything because they're not saying specifically for MapleStory 2. I think the last time they hired a producer for MapleStory 2, they probably accidentally mentioned it was for MapleStory 2 because they usually put these job listings out with without any specifics. So, but they've been hiring more people on the Nexon America studio. So maybe that could bode well for the game. I think we're gonna hear something for sure by the end of this year. I mean, either it's just never going to happen, we might hear that, or we're going to hear some kind of date on it.
All right.
But this game is adorable.
Who knew
I will not bet against you on that. I bet we know something by summer.
the biggest...
we put some bets? We're going to put something on the line here?
Yeah, I'll put something on the line. I say we'll hear something by October, by my birthday, okay? October 6th. We're going to hear
put this on the
some
Excel
release
sheet.
date or some kind of closed beta, some kind of Western announcement. I'm putting it on the Excel sheet. Who wants to take me up on this bet? I'll give you 3. Fine, we'll put all the dates down.
Does anyone have a sheet of all the bets that we've made on MMOs?
Yeah, we're doing it now. We started keeping track of it somewhat recently.
I'll say January of next.
All right, January 2018. October 6th. Omer and Matt. Gumby, you said August? Wow, you are optimistic.
Well, I said we hear something. I didn't say release.
Okay, yeah,
this is a hear something.
Fine. This is a hear something story. Fine. Guaranteed, Gumby just
not even out in China. It's been in closed beta in China for like a year, so.
Guaranteed, Gumby just put something up on August, just like a rumor he makes up on his own. So sources close to the issue say that an announcement is imminent later this year.
Industry sources suggest that MapleStory 2.
There's an art around making up rumors. Okay, if you keep something vague enough, you're just allowed to make up your own news, and nobody's gonna call bullshit on it. So just keep that in mind, guys. So that's a pro journalistic tip. Vague, unverifiable rumors.
I've got a pretty good rumor.
Buzz. Yeah, what's your rumor, Gumby?
My rumor is Starcraft might be getting remastered.
Wait, is this real?
This is real. It's a real rumor, yeah. It wasn't reported by us.
Is this real?
It's a real rumor.
Oh, no, America.
It was reported by Sports Seoul, a South Korean esports website, and then it was picked up by Team Liquid. So yeah, it's real. Apparently at BlizzCon 2016, and this is where it kind of gets fishy. Apparently at BlizzCon 2016, Blizzard basically took aside people who work in esports, sportscasters, I guess teams, etc., and basically told them that Starcraft was getting remastered, which sounds really weird. And that's the part that makes me skeptical because why would they say anything at all? But basically, and this isn't the first time we heard this. This is actually the second time we've heard something about a Starcraft remastered. But basically, it would just be Starcraft except with higher resolution, same exact game. Whether or not it actually happens, I don't know. But the Sports Soul reports that we'll know something the next week or the week after that. Basically, Blizzard's going to make the announcement from South Korea. Which, if this is all true, it basically means, if it's true, it means that Blizzard plans on trying to make this into the next big esport, probably bigger than StarCraft 2, I guess. Is what they're banking on.
So,
I mean, yeah.
My question is, why didn't they say something sooner? If they side. It's not like they just said, "Oh, hey, you guys can't say anything until the week of March
it's very odd.
12th." It's
Right.
like the whole thing is weird. But if they were to do it, I said it in private chat earlier, but like my prediction is that the only reason that they'd be doing it is that the Starcraft esports scene in Korea continues to like survive, and they'd be bringing it up to date with their like modern netcode and their modern Battle.net platform, whatever the fuck they're going to rename it to whenever they rename it. And it just would overall work better on modern hardware so that the esports scene can continue to live. Like, that's the only reason I can see that they'd do it. Like, I mean, Age of Empires 2 got the HD version, but like, I don't see any reason that Blizzard would go back and remaster StarCraft without like bringing it up to their actual modern standards, unless they just want the esports scene to thrive.
Fun fact, if you look at the data, StarCraft is still doing quite well in South Korea. I mean, number one game there is League of Legends, number two is Overwatch, then Sudden Attack, then FIFA, and then StarCraft is sitting at number 5, above Dungeon Fighter Online, above Lineage, but again, these are popularity numbers, so I'm sure they're monetizing way better on Lineage. Blade and Soul, World of Warcraft, and Warcraft 3, according to Game Tricks.
Wow.
Game metrics. It's metrics.
Game metrics. I think
Metrics.
StarCraft 1 or Brood War has a lot of life left in it. If, like Matt said, it was kind of, if the engine was refreshed to work with current systems, hardware, netcode, they don't have to add anything. By
the way, Erhan, this includes Brood War. It's remastered Brood War.
Yeah. I assume that would be the case. Honestly, I thought StarCraft 1 was a much more fun game. I played 2 a pretty fair amount during season 1 and 2 and stuff, but I really felt StarCraft 1. I think StarCraft 2 was kind of a letdown. I think a lot of people felt that way at the end.
It's just because everyone was so used to StarCraft 1, really. They just want to keep playing what they like,
Yeah.
No, they played. It wasn't like they played so different. Like, I feel like in 2, the units grouped much easier. So like it was rock, paper, scissors, and then in StarCraft 1 it was more micro required.
Yeah. So it's more like people liked it for the mechanical skill.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I think the first one was a lot faster too.
Yeah.
Here's a good question. If this is true, could we see a remastered Warcraft 3?
Oh.
No.
That'd be great. I love Warcraft 3. Those custom maps.
Besides custom maps, because I enjoyed
mode.
the campaign a lot in Warcraft 3. I played that more than anything else. Same with StarCraft.
I think we'll see a Warcraft 4 before a Warcraft 3
Really?
remake. Yeah.
That's kind of a funny thing to say, because that means neither's happening. So.
Did you guys watch the Warcraft movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just think of it.
Sure, did you know I have a video review on the channel of the Warcraft
Wait,
movie?
you do?
Gumby's trying to be a movie critic.
I gave up after that one.
Dude, Gumby, listen to that voice, that Gumby voice. That's a really good movie critic voice, okay?
If only I wasn't so lazy.
I listened to it. He looks like a movie critic. Look at the little bubble. Look at the bubble, guys.
If I've learned anything from TV, the only criticism that sounds smart is shallow and pedantic.
Shallow and pedantic. I know that reference, man.
But yeah, for the Warcraft movie, the only thing I think we talked quite a bit about it when it first came out, but just the Ragnar guy's acting. He played Ragnar in that Vikings thing. It was he sounded like he gave no fucks, literally zero.
All the humans they phoned in their roles. The orcs were the best part. The whole movie should have just been about orcs. That's all they needed.
Yep.
I thought that the movie was mostly like for people that played like Warcraft. It was like if you didn't actually play those games, there's like no appreciation for that movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It was fan service. That's what it was.
I'm trying to find some more rumors that we can talk about out of curiosity now. Apparently, there were recently layoffs at Perfect. Well, recently I mean last month. All right, there were some layoffs at Perfect World and Tryon. Not sure how those two are connected, but there were layoffs at both companies.
Illuminati confirmed. Okay, gotcha.
And were there? Well, don't we have a real story about Nexon employ some streamlines? Yeah, some people lost their jobs at Nexon America.
They
did. Nexon fired 6 people apparently, which doesn't seem like a lot, but they fire some people.
You know what's funny? They tried to mask it. That's the most funny part. So 6 people in Exiled America, right?
Yeah.
And then they phrase it as saying it's less than 1% of their global workforce. Well, we're not talking about their global workforce. We're talking about the Exiled America workforce. Like, why are they bringing up their people? I thought that was funny.
That seems kind of that is funny that they say that because Exiled America is such a small part of their work. I mean, most of their employees are going to be in South Korea most likely. How many people do you think work in Nexon?
The whole thing or America?
The whole thing. Take a guess. Look, guys, quiz time. Whoever can guess the number of Nexon employees worldwide wins a prize. We'll go around table. Aaron, Sean, Gumby, Shu. That's the order. Go, Aaron.
I'll say...
Wow, you forgot me. Thanks.
800.
And Matt. All right.
800, huh?
Sean?
Oh, me? I'll go big. I'll say 4,000.
I said Matt Shu, didn't I, Matt? I think I got you.
Was it my turn? My turn?
Go ahead, Shu.
All right. Hey Google.
No, stop cheating. Stop cheating.
No!
No, you can't ask Alexa. People in the chat are guessing too.
I'm gonna. Are we doing Price is Right rules or?
Yeah, Price is Right rules, of course.
All right.
If you overshoot it, you're done.
Who put the highest? Who put the?
Me. I said 4,000.
4,001.
Piece of shit.
Okay, Matt.
1,100.
Okay, number was 5,033.
Wow.
Shu wins by one upping Gumby's guess.
By cheating.
By totally cheating. No, that's a valid strat. That's a valid strat, right?
We have some people. Yujin said 5,033.
He totally Googled it. There's no way he guessed it exactly. Are you kidding? What are the odds he got it perfectly? You're all 30 cheaters in here. We're on to you guys.
There should be a reality TV show called Google It, where you see how fast people can get answers by Googling.
Oh, I'm sure it's done. Like a Google race, basically. Like a relay race.
It's
So you Google something, then the next guy Googles something.
All right, actually, before we get too far into other news stuff, we should talk about what we played for Friday Grindfest. We played some of the Exiled.
It's Grindfest Friday.
You know, I'm never gonna get that.
Grindfest Friday. I know. I don't understand.
Okay, here's the thing that drives me mad. One of the videos, it literally says in the title, Grindfest Friday, or Friday Grindfest in the title. But the image says Grindfest Friday. And it's like, how did you mess that up? It was right in front of you.
We like to keep people. Keep people on their toes. It makes it more exciting.
Well, what did I wasn't around for Friday. I've been fairly busy. So, what did you guys play? Tell me about what you played, because I missed out.
You missed out on this gem as well.
Oh yeah.
I'll let Aaron take it away. Aaron's the most passionate about this game.
All right, this game. Yes, this game was trying to be one of those open PvP MMORPGs with a hardcore. It's not about grinding. It's about PvP. So it's got full loot. It's got open PvP everywhere, including town, which is interesting.
What is this game called, by the way? You didn't even tell us.
It is called The Exiled, previously known as Das Tal.
Like Das Tal
Valley.
Yes, in German. This game is built on Unity, and it's been in development for over 4 years now.
Wow.
And we played it. It's got a 7-day free trial, after which it costs $20, which is pretty steep.
$20
You get a 7-day free trial. That's nice.
Yes. The problem, though, is nobody plays it. There's 4 servers, America, Europe, Brazil, whatever. And there were perhaps 11 people on, counting us 4, or us 3 when we played it. So for an open PvP game with no real grinding, no real quests or anything to do, it's basically dead in water before it even came out.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It is unfortunate. There are 0 people playing right now. 0. It's still in early access. It's not even really out yet. After all that development, it's really a shame. I think they took on too much. They tried to make it too niche of a game. And interestingly, they took money from the government of Bavaria in Germany. The state of Bavaria funded this game. I don't really think there's a place for, let's say, governments who have to deal with people who are dying from cancer and shit to worry about video games. But this is what happens. This is what happens when money's diverted to.
So I just want to know that I know no one was playing, but I mean, was the core vision good or Vision. I'm watching this video and I just see you guys grinding.
You know what this is? This is what happens when 4 guys who admittedly have talents. The art is pretty unique. It's good looking. The ideas are good. So it's a couple guys with good ideas and good talent. They got together and they just threw everything on the wall. So there was no reason for this to be an MMO or just do like a arena fighter with skills and stuff. Like why make it 100% PvP where then it relies on actually having players, not zero.
To give you guys some context too on that, because the way the skill system worked, I mean, you can gain levels, but grinding and leveling is not the main purpose of the game. Basically, from level 1, you're basically almost the same strength as if you were level 30, level 40. Your strength really doesn't change per level. The only thing that really changes is your ability to upgrade your abilities and to actually unlock more slots for your ability, to actually equip more abilities at once. So that's the only thing that really changes. And upgrades to your abilities as well as upgrades to your gear are very incremental. And the only gear you can upgrade is your armor and your weapon. And again, very incremental upgrades, so people level 1 can still kill higher level players. So the actual MMORPG component of leveling and progress, it didn't seem to add much value. But the core combat itself and skills were interesting, which is why my brother said it would make some more sense as a simple. It didn't have to be an MMORPG. If this played like Battle Right, it would have made more sense. It would have made more sense because they don't have the player base to even think about making it what they want it to be, but it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah, so it just seemed really silly.
You need hundreds of players concurrently for it to work the way they want, and it's really sad. And the reason I care so much about this one is because it ticks so many boxes for me. The isometric view, the 2D kind of style, the action RPG feel. There's no the skill-based progression. You depending on what weapon you're using or armor you're using, you get different skills. So it's not based on grinding out those skills, which I think is I think the leveling paradigm it's overplayed now. So it ticked a lot of boxes, but perhaps it ticked too many boxes, for one game. Mm-hmm. So it just didn't come together. Sad.
I think this raises a broader issue, and I think the Nexon CEO actually mentioned this in the interview we talked about last week. That there's too many game studios kind of vying to make a product. And honestly, just look at all the choice we have today. There are so many MMORPGs, like just in the MMORPG arena. Forget MMOs. Like there are so many MMORPGs trying to compete. And honestly, the market just cannot fill it all. There's just an absurd amount of games. If you go on Steam, go to the free-to-play section, and start browsing the free-to-play MMORPG section, just on Steam alone, you'll find so many games. Like there's the talent that worked on this game would have been better off working elsewhere. I mean, like these guys that made this game, that they couldn't make what they wanted. Like they should just end up working at Nexon or some other company and then put their talents to use elsewhere. I mean, instead of having 1,000 shitty games, it's better off that we get less studios and we get more quality games.
I'm going to disagree with you at one point there. I don't think their talent's better served at a bigger studio because these guys got a vision. I think what Erhan said was probably closer to the point that they should have put their walls up on a smaller scale. They should have done something more similar to Battle Right, something where it's just an arena rather than a big open world MMO. Just because it's so much harder to pull off, and also to attract the player base.
I think the core problem with it, this is going to be a really specific thing. They wanted to create kind of a fair environment that was an open PvP world with a lot of clan and guild war, or clan war activities and territory wars, but that was kind of fair and that there was no grind. So like if you die, you have the ability to continue to play even without like grinding up gear and stuff. And the problem is, how do you do that without being like planet side? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you can't just throw a bunch of resources, have no mobs, and just say go fight each other. You know what I mean? It's not going to work well unless you're very, very clear about what it is. And planet side it works because planet side is a shooter, but this is not a shooter, it's an MMORPG. It's a very different set of requirements. Even like Fantasy Earth Zero, which was very PvP focused, even if it had a very small PvE element, it had a PvE element. So the problem is, it's not really that they're not doing what they want to do, it's just what they want to do is very hard to do right. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
And I think you guys give them a little too much credit. I mean, some of the core like design choices were just outright bad. I mean, literally walking up to a meteorite, clicking on it, and it says defend the meteorite for 5 minutes, and these stupid eggs pop up around you for 5 minutes. You just stand there poking eggs with a stick for 5 full minutes,
and then you get like to do that
to upgrade your gear. You do.
Yeah, but in an ideal world where there are more players,
in an ideal world, you don't have to play this game either. You know, it's not a fun element. Let me earn my gear in like something more in a more interesting way.
I will say
anything can be more interesting than this.
There's actually I have a bigger problem. I gave them some credit for being talented, and I did read some of their dev blogs, and it seemed like they knew what they were doing in terms of like, like in the commercials when you see people open up the like Unreal Engine or whatever, or like the rendering program like Maya, and like it looks like they know what they're doing, right? They're spinning things around. There's like drop down menus, so it looked like they knew what they were doing. But with that said, when we played this, there were lag issues. With 11 people on a server, there were lag issues. So clearly, they didn't know how to do the online part of it, because if it was that bad with 11 people, it wouldn't have worked with 100. If they had the group they wanted, the servers would have just imploded.
Mm-hmm. I think still so many of these indie games divert resources from being better utilized elsewhere. I don't think there's room in the market for so many indie games. I mean, there's nothing wrong with indie gaming, but when you're trying to make MMORPGs, especially where the cost is a lot higher, the complexity is higher, it's so many resources end up getting sucked away that could have been done elsewhere. It'd be a real shame for if like something like Star Citizen didn't happen after all that promise, because basically Star Citizen was able to raise all that money, $140 million, and they sucked away developers, designers, artists, musicians, everything, right? Those resources would have been used elsewhere and have been tied up with Star Citizen for like 4 years now, right? So if that game didn't come out, it would be a shame. And I think because we have so many indie studios, all that talent is being kind of, held at their own studio. And if it doesn't, and if it ends up being a flop, but we've seen so many of these games, MMORPGs especially, right? I think indies have done tremendous on other platforms, other genres, but I don't think they have a great record with MMORPGs.
Yeah, but the great thing about a free market is that's their choice.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. I don't think they should be disallowed from doing that. I just think it's a shame for consumers that they've chosen that, because we get ultimately the resources get wasted ultimately.
But those are resources that aren't guaranteed to have been available to other projects.
I mean, of course they're, unless the guy's going to sit home all day. You think if it didn't work on this game, these guys would just go into the forest and live by themselves?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the money they got and the resources they got would not have been guaranteed.
No, their time, they're human capital.
Yeah, but that's only one resource.
Okay, but that resource of their talent, of their human talent, would have literally had to go, unless he was already rich and everyone, he would just sit home all day. That's fine. But otherwise, he literally would have been working somewhere else, and there'd be more stuff out of it. Is the only thing I was trying to say. Yeah?
Here.
I don't think this one was iffy.
I feel bad for the government of Bavaria. They got
gypped.
They're not getting their money back on this one. But if they want to give more money away, maybe they can hit me up and I'll make them a game too. $1 billion.
Actually, speaking of making games, guys, last week we talked about MMOs.com potentially licensing and relaunching an MMORPG. We talked about a few games and we had difficulty finding games to get back to us. I tried reaching out to the guys that made Secret of the Solstice, an old Ragnarok clone. I reached out to the guys who made Trinium Wars and a bunch of other games just to see if somebody would reply to me. I tried to get NeoSteam as well, because I figure if Suba Games and Red Fox are launching all these dead games, maybe MMOs.com can throw a low ball offer of like $1,000 and get the code license, the server code and the game code, and we can run the game ourselves. No luck on those responses. However, we got an email back. Somebody heard the podcast, okay? Because we got an email from a Russian developer. The guys behind Sphere 3 Enchanted World. All right, I'm going to give you the Steam page for this right now. Asked us if we want to publish their game. They were looking for North American publishers.
Is it so? It's already on Steam?
It's already on Steam, though.
So what do we get if we got it?
Maybe you're going to give us, who knows? Maybe we'll run the Steam shit, too. Who knows? I played this.
Yeah, you made a video for it, right?
Yeah, it was.
What do you think of this game? Go ahead, give a one-word review, please. One word.
Okay, can I get 4?
I'm a little disappointed. For each word, you lose points. Go ahead, give me 4.
Fine. Better than the Exiled. Only because it was functional. It was a generic black experience, but you can level up, you can kill some mobs. It was all a cohesive experience, all right. Whereas killing eggs for 5 minutes was not cohesive at all in the Exiled. What are the odds these guys would reach out to us and be like, hey, you want to publish our game? It's so odd that they've been out for, I think, about a year or so, if not more. But a better question, guys. Have you guys heard of the glorious Sphere franchise? Because this is the third game in the franchise.
Yeah, no,
apparently.
I heard about it ages ago. It's much more popular in Russia than it was here.
What's that first one called? Sphere? Is there a
Sphere,
subtitle?
yeah, Sphere. It's just
No, it starts with Sphere 2.
Sphere Online, and then Sphere 2 had some sort of subtitle, but I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what to reply to the guy. I kind of asked him like some more information. He didn't get back to me yet. But I just don't see. The goal was to get one of these games for on the cheap. So I think this guy's gonna want more money because it's a game that's currently available, which is why we were kind of reaching out for dead games.
Well, just tell him our budget. Our budget's $1,000.
I'll give him.
I'll
say we got
full rights to North America.
I want complete. I want global rights, right? I want everything.
You're not getting Russian rights. It's a pretty
obviously
so franchise in
the
Russia.
goal is if we get a dead game, we can kind of just like have fun with it, have like relaunch it, make the cash up like basically free. Maybe not free because we gotta make some moolah off you guys, obviously. But maybe give everybody like free cash app credits every week. Wouldn't that be cool if like it just gave everyone like $10 for the cash app currency every week, and then everything on top of that you can spend money.
Like
obviously, no real game will do that, right?
Like an allowance.
Yeah, like an allowance.
They'll just send us patches untranslated, and we'll have to get someone to localize them.
Oh no, we'll just put them up in Russian, all right? Let people learn Russian on the way.
No. I would do it. I would Google Translate it, and I would write it. I would just rewrite the whole thing.
Yeah.
I would enjoy doing that.
All right, there we go. Gummy has volunteered to do it.
But it's gonna be very sensual.
Yeah.
So
Sensual.
I love sensual dialogue in my MMORPGs, which is why what was that game? Twin Saga had the best
dialogue of all time.
So, oh yeah.
Gummy, what do you think of this game? You said you played it too.
Can I use 2 words?
You're the word setter, so you can use as many as you like.
You're the wordsmith. Have at it.
Okay, here we go. Not great.
All right.
Not great.
All right, guys, do I hear Sunday Fun Day in Chance of the World or Grindfest Friday? No, not doing it.
Oh my god.
Guys, but look at that about this game on Steam. It's got more than 1,000 quests.
Wow.
Wow.
We actually have a full review for this game.
I'm like afraid of doing any sort of grind fest with you guys because you guys picked the most Duke games.
Wow.
It's
I think that's
misunderstood. It's misunderstood, obviously. All right.
I don't know. Bless wasn't Duke.
Yeah, Bless was pretty fun actually.
That's true.
I had fun with it. Actually, I plan on doing another video for that eventually. Probably a second look. But all right, if you guys, I'm gonna bring up another fun topic.
I got one, America.
Have at it. Take it.
Have you guys seen that MMO, the VR one, VR MMORPG?
There's a bunch. Which one?
Orbis.
Okay, Orbis.
Get me a key.
Wow.
Wait, that's what? Oh my god.
That's a great topic, right? Sure, I'll send him an email, all right? I'll give him from the official Omer at MMOs.com and ask for a key. I'll hook you up.
So I guess real quick, I'll just divert us to PlayStation Now is going to soon let you stream PS4 games, which, for those who don't know, means that if you would like to, you can stream PS4 games to your PC because they have a Windows client. Which means that, potentially, if Activision ends up choosing to do so, you might be able to play Destiny on your PC through PlayStation Now.
Destiny on PC confirmed.
No, actually, I use that service.
Yep. Destiny on PC.
It actually works on the TV too. You don't even need the PlayStation. Like my TV has a PlayStation Now option that you can connect like a controller to.
Really? Like a smart
it's a Sony
TV?
TV, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a smart TV.
Huh.
It's a Sony
I'm
smart
getting
TV,
spied
isn't
on
it?
by that brutal kangaroo, you know.
The brutal kangaroo? You mean brutal kangaroo? Sure, get it right.
but yeah, like our new TV has that option, or it just has PlayStation built in, and you just connect a controller somehow. I don't know how it works, but
Magnets.
yeah,
There's a
they're pretty
magnet
good games
in your
on the PlayStation
keypad,
Now.
and there's one inside the TV. The polarities mix, and it works.
Some of the games are super Duke, and some of them are super good. It's like really polarized. It's like either super Duke or super good.
Well, that describes most games. There's really, I mean, I feel like most games I play are either super Duke or super good. There's usually a little in the middle. All right. I want to take it to a fun issue that kind of nagged me this last week. Overwatch rankings. You guys know how I feel about rankings, right?
Yeah, your ranking is like shit now.
Well,
too many people in the Duke.
All right, so I wrote an article which unfortunately was pretty poorly timed because they did release official statistics pretty shortly, right around this time, and I wrote that Overwatch dumbed down. 81% of players are placed in gold or higher, which I was basing it off of MasterOverwatch.com data, and I compared Season 2 to Season 4, and they basically made they dumbed down the higher tiers, made it much easier to get into, but I feel like we live in an upside down world when if you're at the bottom, like if you're like the 29th percentile, right? You're like well below average. We're talking like down yonder, right? You get a 29, the 29th percentile player. If you're getting a gold medal for that performance, what the hell is wrong with this world? We live in too much of a PC world where where Tracer is gay and Symmetra is autistic and everyone's getting gold medals. What?
I'm going to say the same thing that I said when they made this change. You're fixating too much on the name.
But those names exist outside of Overwatch. But
gold is the third to last one. It is still the third to last.
Yes.
It is literally just the third to last. It's just a name. It's not the Olympics. It's a competitive ranking in a game that anyone can play. Anyone can get into that competitive ranking and play it. It's not the Olympics.
Matt, I'm with you mostly, but I will give Omar this one bone. They chose these names for a reason, right? They didn't make it like what's it called?
Adamantium League.
Yeah, what a Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike has like double eagle, like triple eagle. I don't know, some bullshit, right? I don't even know what they are. But they chose gold here because it's something easy to relate to, and people, new players, new gamers,
it's meaning outside the game,
have a connection to these words.
And if you look at the comparison, like where League is another comparison of a very popular online game that uses a very similar ranking system. They have bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond. So basically, the first 5 ranks are all the same. Actually, the first, and then they have master as well. So basically, the exact same rankings, right? Up to grandmasters, they're all the same. So the way it works in League is completely different. It's very bottom heavy. League is basically told their audience that we don't give a shit about making you feel good about yourself, so we're not going to give everybody gold medals. To be gold in League, you have to be top 25% of players in the game to get gold. And everyone is basically shoved into bronze and silver, which I think is a more intellectually honest. It is I think Blizzard has built an image of coddling their players and making them feel good, which is why we give everybody gold medals, which is why Tracer's gay, which is why Symmetra's autistic. Apparently, this whole inclusive feeling that Blizzard has built around their Overwatch, it's nonsense. It's just silly, and it's intellectually dishonest with their audience. Look, if I'm playing Mercy only and I'm only using my pistol because I'm a retard, and I place the gold, and I don't know, but most people don't know the rankings, by the way. Let's be real. Most people are not looking up the rank distributions, right? So they might think, hey, I got gold playing only Mercy and only using my pistol. Healing's for suckers. Clearly, the game is telling me I'm great at this game because I got gold. I'm not going to change my strategy because it's working. In reality, it's not working. But he's got a gold medal, and he thinks it's working.
Almost triggered. This is Overwatch is like the PC version of gaming. There's like all these female characters, like Zarya's like this buff, chick. We got some disabled people like Symmetra. Yeah.
But here's the thing too. Look, people are saying that making people feel better is not necessarily bad. Look, I think it is bad because you're actually you're stifling your players' growth. When you tell them they're all doing great, right? You're a gold player. Keep at it, boss.
They're not doing great. It's all relative, and you have.
But they don't know the relative, Matt.
That's their problem. That is literally their problem. If they think that gold isn't the third from the last and that it's nearly at the top, then that's their problem.
But
it's
Blizzard
nothing for you to.
Yes, they're misleading them. That's misleading by
Blizzard to do though.
Overwatch is my safe space. I'm a gold player, Omar. Please.
I'm not saying Blizzard can't do that.
This is an inclusive feeling. Blizzard is doing it because it's keeping people playing, which makes them money off of microtransactions.
But here's where I think
talking about.
Here's where I think you're completely wrong. Look at League. Pushing their players in bronze and silver. And by the way, League makes multiples the money Overwatch does without coddling their players.
But here's the thing. That's 2 different companies approaching how to make money in 2 different ways.
Yes, and I'm arguing that their method is superior, and Blizzard's making a grave mistake by thinking their players need to be coddled. Here's what I think is a pretty indisputable fact. Let's see if you guys agree with me. I think most people don't give a shit that Tracer's gay or that Symmetra's autistic. These are values Blizzard has that I don't think anyone gives a shit about. They enjoy the game because it's fun.
Symmetra's autistic? Is that real?
Yeah, it's real. It's real.
Yeah. It's confirmed.
Wait, what?
Okay.
She doesn't even seem like what?
She doesn't talk much.
Don't assume her mental state.
He's autistic.
What she goes setting up turret, teleporter online.
She's talking to herself. She's not socially engaging. You shouldn't say that, Gumball.
She's talking to herself.
Whatever. Shoot. As an Overwatch player, do you give two shits that Symmetra's gay or that Tracer's gay and Symmetra's autistic? I don't care personally.
Guys,
I enjoy the game for the fun.
All right, here's the thing though. In Overwatch's defense, I think it's perfectly fine. Remember, Overwatch isn't just the game. Overwatch, since its inception, has been about building this universe that exists not just in the game, but as a comic book series. I imagine one day we're going to get a TV show, considering how successful it is. I don't mind the character building. I think it's just fine. It doesn't change how the game is played. I think that's great. And it's interesting because we have never gotten a major character before like this, and that's what makes it interesting. That's what people are talking about it. Does it change how you play the game or me? No, not at all.
I think most people don't care.
It doesn't change anything about the gameplay, but it just adds to like just having different kinds of characters, and I think that's what makes the characters interesting. Really.
Yeah, I actually think it's fun. I think it's fun that they. I mean, I don't mean it for like. I think it's just fun because it's novel, and who cares?
All right.
Most people don't care.
If you're focusing on gameplay, of course it's not gonna change anything, right?
Right.
What are they gonna have, like a fucking gay gun?
Look, if there's one person out there who's like excited now to play Symmetra, then I'm glad because I like Symmetra personally, and I always have. But she has always been underrepresented when I played, at least. I don't know if that buff actually made her viable or not, but I think it's cool. I wonder what they're gonna do with Winston then. Is Winston like?
Winston has AIDS.
He's actually Harambe.
Winston
is Harambe's brother.
He's patient
literally
zero.
Harambe.
All right. So the moral of the story is that Omer doesn't like that people in gold can say, "Oh, well, I'm gold," and he wants them to feel bad about themselves.
No, you're completely wrong. You're missing my point, Matt. You're missing my point. I want to emphasize it again because you missed it, Matt. When somebody is told they're a gold player, they are being misled. The wrong signal. Your rating is a signal by Blizzard, by the game company, telling you if what you're doing is right or wrong. If it's working, it's not working. And most people don't know the rank distribution, and it's not fair to assume everybody will know the rank distributions. Especially the people on the gold and lower tier, they don't know the rank distributions. The higher you are, the more you care about your rank, the more you look it up. So if somebody's playing horribly and he's doing something objectively bad, like playing pistol only Mercy, and he's getting a gold rating, the game is signaling what you're doing is working, when it's clearly not working. But he doesn't realize that if he's bottom 29th percentile, he's still gold rated. So I'm saying Blizzard is doing a disservice to its players. That's all I'm saying.
I'm actually gonna have to agree with Omer on this one.
It's literally not signaling anything, just a name.
It is signaling something though, because it's like not only is it demeriting like what people have achieved like by playing better, like Omer said, it's giving you positive feedback like
on bad plays.
It doesn't give you room to improve. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like
the wrong signals are being sent to you. And gold has contact. Whether you realize that, gold does mean something, Matt, because so many games use gold as a benchmark for a rating, not just Overwatch. If Overwatch existed in a vacuum and there was no other video games that used a rank system, I agree 100% with you, Matt. That's a big caveat.
So what if you call it gold, double gold, triple gold, quadruple gold, quintuple gold?
No, if you don't use the word gold, the league is gold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not the point. If they use their own ranking systems like triple fire, lightning, whatever they want to use the CS:GO ranks, make up their own rank numbers. That's fine. The moment you use gold, silver,
I think you're getting hung up on just like a connotation. Like I said, if people aren't going to look up the rankings, that is their problem. They can play however they want. I don't see what the problem is.
In other games though, like they're
This isn't other games though.
Matt,
yeah, but
Matt, you're getting mad.
Okay, real quick. Matt, are you telling me, Matt, that if a button, if the jump button is A in every game or whatever it is, And then in another game, you make it.
That literally happens all the time, and you know what I do?
Is it bad design then, Matt? It's bad design. Nobody's saying they can't do it. It's awful design.
Zelda, the jump button is X. You know what I did? I adapted. Because that's what you do. You adapt to each individual game because not every designer is going to design something the same way.
Well, the reason why it's designed that way in Zelda is because you need to have faster access to the dash button, to the dodge button, right? That's why.
It's still not A. That's my whole point.
Matt, if a door is designed with a doorknob in a certain height, and you have one doorknob that's like near the ceiling, what an awful design! That's objectively bad design for a door.
That is literally there are doors with door handles at different heights.
But they're all within a varying degree, Matt. That's the point.
Okay, this is a bad analogy.
Yeah, back to Overwatch.
Take it.
Look, I mostly agree with Matt. Look, they're just titles. It should make no difference to people who play competitive Overwatch. The only people it makes a difference to, and the only people Overwatch was targeting with this, are the casuals who want to feel good. They want to, hey, I'm gold. And Matt's saying they're not gonna look up what gold means. That's exactly what Blizzard wants. It wants a casual retard to feel good as his rank goes up, as the ranks get diluted. So it actually serves two purposes. It makes no difference to real competitive players who are going to go for the high end, right? Because they don't care about labels. They just want the highest rank. But the guys who want to feel like they're moving up and keep playing the game are going to keep playing now. So it's a win-win, really. Who loses? I don't understand.
I told you because the people that want to get better lose. The casuals that want to improve their game lose.
All right, I'm going to drop a bomb. Ready? If you're in gold right now with this 20% ranking, if you're in gold and you played more than 100 games of Overwatch, you'll never get better. So either enjoy the...
His wanting to improve engages him with the game.
No, it doesn't. You can't. Nobody improves. Nobody improves.
Okay. Here, I would argue that anyone that wants to improve is going to look up their ranking
regardless
of what it's called.
They're going to look it up. They're going to look up what it means. They're going to be serious players.
But it's still reinforcing poor decisions and bad behavior.
But how? It's not saying
it is. If you're bottom 19,
listen. You're not it's not saying you're playing Mercy as exclusively pistol. You get a gold medal for playing Mercy as exclusively pistol. It's not saying playing Mercy as exclusively pistol achievement. That is not reinforcing bad behavior.
If what you're doing isn't working and you're not winning that many games and you're at the bottom 29th percentile and you see a gold medal on what you're doing, you say, hey, what I'm doing must be working.
Good. You feel good.
On a very specific example.
Any bad behavior, not just that.
How do you lose from that? What you just described, the guy gets a rush. He feels good. Congratulations, you're now gold. He's gonna say, yeah.
It's reinforcing his bad behavior, so he wants to get better, and if he can't get better,
if he wants to get better, he's going to know what that means.
Yes, exactly.
Good. How many times do I say that?
Matt, you are adding a layer of complexity and obfuscation when there's no need for it.
There is a need. You have to keep the retards feeling like they're good at the game.
It's not obfuscation, though.
Yes, it is.
Unless you fixate on what gold means. Anyway,
gold has meaning, and they're taking away the meaning of gold and shitting on it, so everybody gets gold medals now. If
gold has the meaning that
that's
people
fine.
give to it. If it changes, then it's going to change.
So Matt, you basically, if we have a school of kids, right, and everybody gets 100 on their test, that's the minimum grade, and all of a sudden we change the maximum to 200. So 200 is an A, 100 is an F. Or
that
whatever.
Could happen. It could. People would just adapt.
And that would just confuse the shit out of people. Is what I'm trying to say. The people that get hundreds, they might think, "Oh God, I'm so happy I got 100 on my test. Wait, I got every question wrong. I guess I'm just so smart. I got 100 anyway."
Good.
Like, that feel good mentality doesn't serve any purpose.
It does.
No.
If you're in gold today, right, and you played a lot of Overwatch, you're never going to be a good player. Guys. Just make yourself feel good. Who cares? It's like this.
Guys, this is going nowhere. Moving to real news. Okay, I'm done. Moving to real news.
I'll take these.
We got to talk about Shards Online.
Give up. Take it.
We got to talk about Shards Online, because Shards Online, the game that was originally going to be basically a build-your-own MMORPG with custom servers, coding, and all this other stuff, and they said you had access to all these variables, and you could just, people could basically make anything, and eventually they'd allow you to change assets and everything, right? The original thing, basically, is they were going to have a small world that demonstrated what the shards were, and I think ultimately what was going to be the thing about it was that the official servers were going to be kind of a demo of what you could do with it, right? They weren't going to be anything super serious, and now they're turning it into a full-fledged MMORPG. They're getting rid of the limits on how big the world can be. They're getting rid of the limits on how many people can be on each individual shard, and they're going to just change a lot of it. And I'm kind of shocked that they're doing this right now, because I mean, they had a specific vision in mind, but now they're making a real MMORPG, and I'm kind of wondering how that's going to affect the development, like the personal modding development part of it, and whether or not this signals that the mod system is done, and they're just going to add content on top of it because that's what their fans wanted. Like, I mean, maybe it's not done, right? But everything's in there, it works, and it's just got to go through early access now. But I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen going forward, and kind of going to be interesting to see if they actually continue to focus on the modding part, or if they focus on the full-fledged MMORPG.
I think they're crazy. Why did they change the name? I feel like they could have done all this without changing the name.
I think here's what happened. And Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. One of the things is the current alpha build of Shards Online became the default in like what people who tried it, people who heard about it, people who read about it, thought the whole game was, right? So people like me, for example, I played it a few times, I read about it, but I'm not super engaged. My understanding was that first map was small, right, that we played on. I did think they were going to do, and correct me if I'm wrong here too, everything they're doing now with the Legends of Aria, I thought they were going to do with Shards once it left alpha. Is that wrong? Like,
I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to make a bigger world. I thought the world we played on was like
it was like a test. But here's what happened. Like people like you and me, Gumbo, who played it, right, and hundreds of others, thousands of others, that became our perception of Shards Online. Like that's all the game was. And now, after they developed all this new content, they don't want people to just think of it as what they experienced initially. I think it's very bad branding, and then they're ditching that branding now, rather than trying to salvage it.
I don't know if that's what it was, but I mean, it could have been, because ultimately what happened is that they said that they were doing what players wanted, which is they wanted a bigger world. They wanted to be more like Ultima Online, since it was already partially like Ultima Online, and they just kind of wanted it to be more of an MMORPG and less of a development kit. And I mean, that's fair, I guess, because ultimately right now what they're paying for is a game that doesn't have a lot of what it's supposed to have, because the people that are making the mods, that are making their own servers, they're not invested because everything's going to be wiped repeatedly, and they haven't actually made it yet, so there wasn't any content there. So, I mean, ultimately, players could have been asking for this for that reason, but I'm not sure if the development team saw that, or if they just saw their players asking for a larger MMORPG experience.
I think, like, let's be real. I think one of the things I was most excited about for Shards was the server community tools, and honestly, the name Shards Online kind of captures that, doesn't it? Like, there's multiple shards; they can be linked. That was like that was a cool part of Shards Online. What is it now? Legends of Aria? The name.
Well, it's the same thing. It's
I know, but the name kind of detracts from the original vision, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
It kind of makes it seem like it's a specific MMO, and that it's not the same thing. I understand what you're saying. It's just, I think that what they should have done is it should have been Shards Online, and in Shards Online was Legends of Aria.
Beautiful. That would have been the perfect solution. Matt, they should pay you for that suggestion and go backpedal on their announcement, because that just makes more sense.
And that would have been their like showcase. Like, this is Legends of Aria made in Shards Online. Yeah. But the thing is, the other thing that I'm worried about, right? So they're making a larger like landmass. They're increasing the size of the map. They're increasing the server counts, but the player counts on servers. But one of their things was that you had a certain amount of players that could be on each shard, and the shards were a certain size, and then you'd link it to another shard, and like each shard could have like different instances that would count as a shard. And the way that they monetized it was that people would have to pay to have more clusters, like the clusters of shards. What are they going to do now? Are they going to give people the larger landmass? Are they going to give the people who are making that?
That's a good question.
Or are they going to keep the same shard setup with the clusters for players so that they can still monetize it? Like, this is something I'm very confused about, and I'm not sure that they have an answer for that yet.
Also, I have a question for you guys, based on the Legend of Aria announcement. Are you like? I was never mega hype about Shards Online, right? But I was most excited for the whole server building element. So like, now they changed Legend of Aria. Like, do you have any more interest in the world they create, or do you still think the main selling and the cool part of the game will be the player created community content?
I was going to say before, when everyone was talking about what we had experienced, even when we played it for that, I guess it was Sunday Funday, I figured, I'm not actually experiencing the real game, because the real game is supposed to be this community-driven effort. At the same time, you got to have a community that's willing to create that content, and maybe they weren't seeing enough feedback from the community, and that's why now they've abandoned that notion. They're building this bigger world. Now I don't really know what to expect. I'm actually just kind of confused by what's happening.
Yeah.
Actually, just like when Das Tal changed its name, I feel like name changes
this late.
It's as if you're hearing about a new game. Yeah, and it's very late in the project's development.
And I mean, the thing that I see now is, especially like before, they had Shards Online and they had the world of Celador, which was their showcase. And Celador was a little bit like Ultima Online, but then they had the specific, this is Ultima Online rule set over here, where you could go over here and you could play basically Ultima Online. But now Legends of Aria is basically Ultima Online. So what I think I see, and what I think a lot of other people are going to see going forward, is a Ultima Online wannabe, and they're not going to see like the community aspect. And the fact that this is a real MMORPG now, like a full-fledged real MMORPG, it's going to overshadow all of the community efforts, because they're not going to have full-fledged MMORPGs. They're going to have little bits, like they're going to have little parts that they like put together, and they're going to create an experience that way. So it's going to be like, you've got like, shit, I can't think of a small MMORPG right now that you guys would know. I'm thinking like Blade Mistress or like Puppet Guardian, and you've got that over there, and then way over here you've got Ultima Online 2.0, but not really. And I think it's just, it's self-defeating in a way, because before it was a showcase, but now it's an actual game, and it's going to kill it for a lot of people.
And if they could have built it as like, okay, we made the world bigger, but we still want to focus on the community stuff. That if they said that would have been fine, right? Because, but then by changing the name, they did kind of de-emphasize that part.
Guys, my understanding after reading about it for 2 seconds, and this could be still wrong, is nothing changed. What they are doing now was what they always intended to do with Shards Online, and
No.
Yes,
a lot changed. A lot changed. This is actually an Ultima Online clone, basically. And the world is going to be significantly bigger, and we don't know if they're giving those tools to the people that are modding.
But we always knew they wanted to make the world bigger.
But they were going to make it bigger through shards and clusters. This is an actual bigger world. It's a full open world without.
I always thought they planned on expanding the world itself, not just as a shard.
They were going to be using the shard system and clusters before.
All right.
I don't know how I feel about that.
But I mean, regardless, I think they can still make it work. But it's weird that they changed the name.
The name? You're still caught up on the name?
I am, because the...
Well, look, here's the thing. I'm going to explain it very simply. By changing the name, all you think about is the MMORPG that they made. You don't think about the ones that people are going to make. The name change is very important, because it changes exactly what they're trying to do with it.
It changes the paradigm, and that's a fucking $2 word. So.
Shoot, have you heard of Shards Online? Because I think I can hype you for this game pretty easily.
I haven't. No.
All right, let me give the gist, and tell me if it sounds pretty cool. Again, I'm sure people listening haven't all heard about this. Before they changed the name, right? It was called Shards Online, and the premise was mega cool. Essentially, they're building a small MMORPG, a small world with some basic rule sets, right? And then they're giving their players server tools and community tools to make their own versions of that game, and their own they can write their own scripts and play with so much of the world, almost like a mini MMORPG builder.
So it's
within the game.
It's like Second Life, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but yes, but I was thinking more along the lines of the Warcraft 3 map editor or the Starcraft custom map maker, because it won't be as free as Second Life, but people will be able to make their own creations and kind of interlink them with each other too. So one character you have on my server, and let's say we work together on, you have your own server, we can link our servers to have the similar rule set, so we can kind of play our character on each server. And essentially, the player-made community content would be front and center, and that's the really cool part of the game. That was the gist of it earlier. I feel that sounds awesome, but they changed it.
That's an interesting. Sorry, that's an interesting switch then, because I didn't have context, so I didn't really understand. So that is weird that they would do that.
From that to just another typical MMORPG that they make.
It's weird that they would go from something so unique to something that's already, something refreshingly unique.
Good choice of words, Shu. Beautiful choice of words. I concur.
Yeah, to something that's a little bit more standard. It's just interesting. I don't know. I mean, maybe the other game will be really, really good. Maybe they aborted it. Maybe they thought it was a bad idea, and like after implementation, we don't know. There's a lot of things.
It's still there. All that stuff is still there. It's just going to be overshadowed now.
Yeah.
They're still going to have the shards thing.
They said yes.
It's unclear how they're going to do it now that they're changing the technology for their main server, but it will still be there.
It seems to me like it's a case of not enough information. So,
it's a case of making me change the name of the game on MMOs.com. What a hassle, right? These assholes. They didn't even think about me.
Legends of Aria people, if you're watching, please send us a 10-point bullet. It has to be bullet points. I'm not going to read it. 10 bullet points about explaining your game, the change, what changed, what stayed the same. All right? Thank you.
Beautiful. Good information request right there. Gotta be in PowerPoint format too. And you want transitions. 3 bullet points per page. You want the transitions for everything. So when the words fly on, they start doing like the full 360s. They spin around, right?
No, just bullet points. That's all I want. I like seeing the little dots. I like making I always check them off too. Like I'm making progress down the list.
RTF files only, please.
Talking about games that are shifting gears. What about you wrote this article about Dean Hall sci-fi MMORPG? What's the deal with Ion?
So this
sounds very similar to Aeon, but no.
After reading that it was abandoned, that's the first time I heard about it before, vaguely. So years ago, well, not too many years ago, 2015.
Well, wait a second. Who is Dean Hall? Because that's very important here.
Dean Hall is the man who climbed Mount Everest, but he also created the DayZ mod for Arma. Then he went on to make the DayZ standalone game with some other company or the same company. I don't know.
No, a different company.
So basically, he kind of invented the whole survival zombie apocalypse genre that, spawned us games like Rust.
So he invented,
and just like characters in his games, they die. His games die after a short amount of time.
They just fade into oblivion, So he took the stage in 2015 at E3 to announce Ion, I guess is the proper way to say it. He was going to work. Ion. He was going to work with Improbable, the guys behind Spatial OS, to create this huge, immersive, super duper game. And he really hyped it. I guess that's his like his spiel. There's a quote by him. Quote: I want a game that is not a game. I want a game that is a universe. A universe built not on scripts or quests, but on the laws of physics, biology, and chemistry. A simulation MMO that explores mankind's expansion into space. The chance to be a pioneer in a harsh universe, swamped with the risks of death, yet peppered with the havens of fortune.
He sounds like a pseudo-philosopher recently hired by Vice to hype people up in weekly YouTube videos.
By Vice?
Yeah, my favorite edgy intellectuals.
Yeah. It was a very hype...
Sean hates it.
It's a very ambitious title. Very ambitious title. And I guess he got part of his wish. He wanted a game that's not a game. So
he got it.
He got it. He got what he wanted. He got no game.
What's funny to me is that this is not the first game he's walked away from, because DayZ sure as shit ain't complete. So...
Yep.
He's moonwalked away from 2 games now.
He's better at climbing mountains than he is at finishing games.
Dean Hall abandoning games. Big surprise from Chaos Shield.
Isn't this guy like 0 for 3 right now? He struck out, man.
Yeah, but at least this first one was very profitable, so I guess he can do that.
At least he climbed Mount Everest.
But that's what he's remembered for. The 43rd New Zealander to climb Mount Everest.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh, it's... That's
yeah, I feel like if you're from a small country.
Why do I know that? Jesus.
So look, it was so like it would have been so nice to have this, but luckily the Spatial OS Improbable engine is still with us. It's the technology powering a game that Omar and Matt played, Worlds Adrift. So they probably have they have a better sense of what this game would have been. Like imagine an MMORPG built on that technology where everything is persistent. It's a constantly, I guess, expanding universe, or a very large one at least.
Sure, did you play World of Drift with us?
Literally can't. You literally can't compare them. It's just the technology.
I haven't played pretty much anything with you guys in a long time.
Well,
all right.
I've been gone playing Zelda.
But the Spatial OS, the one part of that is the persistent items, isn't it, Matt? You cut a tree down in like in Worlds of Drift, you leave an item on the floor.
It's not a Spatial OS just makes it possible.
Yeah, but I mean, think about what he
because
said here.
It distributes the server load a lot more evenly across like an infinite number, technically an infinite number of servers.
Yes, but that's what he's trying to say here. Instead of having quests or scripts, it's going to be just a big universe where everything is kind of built on everything else, like with the laws of physics, chemistry. So I think what he was trying to explain here was what Worlds Adrift is in a much smaller sense. It was going to be a much bigger scale version of what Worlds Adrift is offering.
No.
I think so. That's what I got.
No.
Wait, no.
Worlds Adrift is more like a survival game. This
right.
This is sitting here like we want to simulate everything. That's basically what they said.
So World Adrift is a much diluted version of the ambition here, is what my point
I think you're fixating on the engine it was made in too much. It wouldn't be anything alike at all. I think this would be more like a super detailed Star Citizen.
Yeah, you're exploring planets instead of those little islands, right? In this game, if it existed. You're kind of you're doing shit on the planet.
Remember, the laws of physics, biology, these are like pretty sandbox element. It's not like nothing is scripted. It's all like within.
I'm giving myself 100% credit here. I'll show a Worlds Adrift video.
I mean, it's not the same. Obviously, they're not at all the same kind of games. I mean, just the technology part you were mentioning.
Also, it's spatial with a T.
Spatial with a T.
I don't like it.
Did you guys put this on YouTube? I don't think you guys did. Oh, all right, I'll just play this.
Anyway,
I'm glad you just volunteered to do that. By the way,
speaking of Worlds Adrift, that game was mega laggy. Hopefully, they fix it when the beta rolls around on Steam eventually. But it was a fun game.
I said I'd play it with you guys next time, Ian.
Next round of beta, sure, I'll play it with you.
Yeah, all right.
Should be fun.
I like that Titanic moment. That was like the highlight of that game.
The only other game I think is not the only other one, but another big game using that engine is Chronicles of Elyria. Whenever that gets a chance to roll around.
That's the review.
Yep.
So I'm curious now. How is Chronicles of Elyria going to use this technology? But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean that game is still far from release. I mean, I'm hoping for it, but I'm always skeptical about those Kickstarter games.
All right, so also interesting, Tera is confirmed for consoles. We've heard rumors about this for a while now, but it's coming out on consoles.
That's a big one, actually.
PS4 and Xbox One.
I have a feeling it's going to be extremely successful on console.
I have a feeling it's going to run like Neverwinter on. It's not good. I'm talking like an average of 20 frames per second.
Wow.
Oh, that's awful.
Is that what it runs on console?
No, that's what Neverwinter runs on console.
Yeah, but it's doing pretty well on console, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you don't have to have a high frame rate to do well. Bloodborne proved that.
But I mean, I think we predicted that Tera would be on console. I mean, I think.
Well, that's because they were already hiring people.
Yeah, but even before that, I feel like that game is made for console. It could do really well on console, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tera did better on console than it did on PC. Because I think it did a whole much bigger audience on console rather. I mean, it's the way the game is made too.
I mean, this is a whole new rush we're seeing with all these older MMORPGs, even newer ones like Elder Scrolls Online, going to console. It's like the last frontier, right, for them?
Yeah, and it's an untapped market for a lot of these games too. Skyforge is doing it, and so far, I mean, Trove recently launched on there as well, and they've already got millions of players. So far, like the people that launched on console, they're doing pretty well. Like almost every single one, like MMORPGs that launched on there, has been consistently doing well. And you compare some of these games that launched on PC with like no users, so the console is pretty untapped for a free-to-play, MMORPG because there really aren't that many. Like, it's not flooded the way the PC market is saturated and flooded by these games. But of course, being on console, it will have a separate, world. They didn't clarify any of this, but it's going to be pretty obvious that your characters will not be interchangeable and the servers will exist separately. I don't think any game has kind of combined PC and console unless it was like Final Fantasy 14 and 11.
Well, they could. I mean, they could very easily choose either Xbox One or PlayStation 4 and just make it cross-platform with PC. But how do you choose that? That's the problem.
Yeah.
How do you go, you get to play with your PC friends, and you don't?
That's true. But are there any other like console/PC games that are PS4 and PC compatible besides the Final Fantasies?
Yes.
That are PC compatible?
Yes,
Rocket League.
Oh, Paragon.
We just played Games of Glory.
Fair. There you go, Rocket League. There you go. We just did it this last week too. You're right. But it's unfortunate that because of the way the console is set up, you're not going to get compatibility with both. Is it like an actual technological issue, or is it just Microsoft going to be like, you got to pick one of us?
It's Microsoft being a dick. They're getting there slowly.
Microsoft apparently has a rule. If you want your game on, Microsoft Xbox One, there has to be an Xbox One, Xbox Live players only option.
Odd.
So they're not against cross-platform, but they have to also have an option to give their players a chance to play only with Xbox players.
The only one that's truly cross-platform between all three, in the sense, is Rocket League. And Rocket League, they force you to play either with PlayStation 4 users or Xbox One users if you're a PC player. You can't play with all three at once. But it does use the same matchmaking servers.
Somebody said Street Fighter V is cross-platform. I haven't played Street Fighter V on console, so... Bro, there's been PC and PS4. I'm curious whether that was with Xbox.
Gears of War is not a PlayStation 4 game.
I've played Street Fighter, but I suck at it. I'm a button masher for life, Shu. Button masher for life. That's my strategy in Melty Blood. My strategy in Street Fighter, and it gets me. You'd be pretty surprised how far it gets me. Right? I'm not good, but I think I'm above average. Considering average is like pretty meh.
Meh.
That Umeko game is supposed to come out in fucking Steam.
Is that a fighting game?
Yeah, it's the best fighting game I've ever played.
Wait, that's based on the anime, right?
Yeah, it's freaking the best.
It's just so weird to see fighting games for animes that are like not fighting related.
What game?
Umeko.
Design.
I'm saying it wrong, probably.
It's like the best design fighting game by far. So
wow.
Good.
Anything?
You're biased.
Any other news to cover before we can take the conversation to post game for like the meandering what we played and stuff?
We should probably cover Quake Champion.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It's getting close. Closed beta signups are open, and they've unveiled their first champion, which is a stealthy chick named Nyx. And basically what it looks like is that, and I was worried about this because it's champions and how the fuck that was going to fit into Quake. It looks like they're going to have one active ability and one passive ability, and Nyx can temporarily become invisible and invulnerable, and she can also double or wall jump. Like she can wall jump once. Like she jumps up, jumps off the wall. That's it. Like not like Mario back and forth.
I hope it does well. This game is Quake is. I've been playing Quake for God knows how long. So it does look.
Do you think this? Yeah. Do you think this will hurt the chance of Lawbreakers succeeding?
This is much more.
These are the same kind of games. Come on, arena game with heroes, fast paced,
high jumps.
Yeah.
I don't think so, and I think the reason for that is that Quake Champions is still going to be a very specific like Quake game where you find guns on the map and everything, and you're fast-paced killing the shit out of people, and Lawbreakers is still kind of a hero shooter.
But they said the heroes in this game specifically would not be an afterthought. It would be like a pretty key part of the game too.
Yeah, but I mean it's still a different audience. I mean the whole loadout thing is very highly despised among certain subsection of the FPS audience. The whole loadout, like archetype of shooters. So the people that want a Quake-like thing are going to go to the Quake game. They weren't going to go to Lawbreakers in the first place.
This is also free to play as well. I mean, that's another reason it could hurt them. Because some players will overlap between the two. I mean, I'm not saying this is a core audience.
Some will, but.
And this is free to play. Lawbreakers will cost money. Because of that, I'm gonna go and make my call and say Lawbreakers is gonna die. No chance.
Wow.
I give it 0 chance of success.
It's got some chance. We'll see.
I say 0. Well, obviously not 0 until after it fails. But I say very.
I will
low
say,
chance.
having seen Quake Champions, this competes more directly with Lawbreakers than Overwatch does.
Yes, 100%.
Well, yeah, it does definitely.
Yeah.
More than Overwatch. Way more than Overwatch. And I would never say that Quake competes with Overwatch.
And did you tell me Overwatch competes with Battleborn?
Yes, I think Overwatch killed Battleborn.
You can say that, but all right, what's closer, Overwatch or Quake Champions, or Overwatch and Battleborn?
This is post-game talk.
Post-game it, boys.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. If you want to keep hearing us ramble about nothing, do stick around. Otherwise, take care.
All right. Tuesday at 4 p.m. guys. Later, guys.
Peace.